Crimson Trace announces Laser Guard Pro for today's most popular concealed carry firearms, combining a red or green laser sight with 150 lumen light, taking personal defense to the next level. Available now at your local dealer.
Today on Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, there's a new law in Louisiana that will allow some people with past convictions to apply for a concealed carry permit. Also, just released a book from John Lott about the war on guns, your range reports, and more. Call in now at 866-825-5486 or 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now, here's Tom.
Alrighty, let's talk guns. Well, that's what we do, of course. It's called Gun Talk. I'm Tom Gresham. I am your host for going on almost 22 years of doing this and watching a lot of things change and a lot of things, as we like to say, stay the same. The politics tends to be kind of the same, with one large exception. Over the past 20 years, 20 plus years, I've seen Democrats pretty much hide. In fact, they actually put out a paper to Democratic politicians saying, whatever you do, do not talk about gun control. It's a loser for us. This was the whole Al Gore debacle. And many say that he lost because he pushed gun control. So they put out these papers, don't talk about gun control. Don't use the terms gun control. Don't talk about guns at all. I don't care what you want to do. Just hide. Pretend you're not a gun control person. That's changed now, with Hillary saying gun control is a major part of her platform. We'll have a lot more about that, with her saying the Supreme Court got it wrong on the Second Amendment. She will appoint justices who will correct that. Of course, the Supreme Court said you have an individual right to own a gun. That's wrong, according to her. Well, we'll get into that in a little bit. We have been having some great fun this past week shooting the next season of First Person Defender, our online show, digital show. Used to say online. I kind of have to find out exactly how you categorize it at this point, because it's not just on YouTube. It's also on Roku, and it's, on Amazon Fire. And ta-da! As of right now, our videos are now, I'm sure we're uploading them even as we speak, on Apple TV. That would be our Gun Venture show, Gun Talk TV show, Guns and Gear TV show, our thousands upon thousands of instructional videos that we have done on firearms and firearm safety, all now on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, more to come. Of course, on our YouTube channel, which has been there for years. We're actually one of the very first, possibly even the first, to have a complete online video site about gun safety, gun use, instruction, that type of thing, with our guntalk.tv, which was, my goodness, 8 years ago now. Holy cow, goes way back. We were doing the First Person Defender show, and I'll have some stories to tell you about that. This is where we bring in people, and they get to be the good guy, which means they're also the victim. It's a simunitions base. We're using simunitions, the military grade, law enforcement grade form of paintball, if you will. It works in regular firearms, which have been altered so they won't fire real ammo. And we put them into situations where it's a home invasion, it's a robbery, it's an ATM robbery, it's a carjacking, it's you're in the middle of a convenience store and a fight breaks out and somebody gets shot. What do you do? On and on and on. And people say, well, how do you come up with all these ideas? We just look at the news. We actually recreated several scenarios that we just pull straight out of the news, things that really do happen. It's always interesting when people say, that would never happen. Somebody robbing a gun store? Who would be crazy enough to do that? So we send them like a dozen links to different news articles about different gun stores that have been robbed to go, yeah, it really does happen. We had some interesting twists and turns and people doing things under the pressure of running these scenarios that everybody is worried. Everybody thinks they're going to do okay. And almost all of them do okay. some better than others. One this week did great. It's amazing, and we'll talk about that. Amazing what training does for you. Going back to multiple training classes in tactical firearms use, self-defense use. It makes all the difference. I mean, really makes all the difference. We'll also talk a little bit about lasers and some things we have learned about that. Capacity in your firearm, things we've learned about that through the first-person defender shows. If you haven't seen them, I would certainly encourage you to do that. It's very instructive, to say the least. Not obviously entertaining, fun to watch. See, some people have a total meltdown. I'm telling you, there's no brain power left there. It's just completely consumed with, oh my God, what's going on? And I didn't know that was the bad guy. I thought the bad guy was over there. Yes, that's what we do. We have to provide distractions and diversions. Otherwise, people would kind of figure out who's the bad guy here, and they'll get ready to take on the bad guy. Or when you have multiple players out there, it's interesting. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We'll also talk, of course, about the Olympics. Hey, how about that? Even as we speak right now, the women's trap shooting is starting in Rio. And did you see what happened yesterday? The first medal, the medal ceremony in the Olympics, women's air gun, 19-year-old Jenny Thrasher from the USA takes gold. The first gold medal awarded in the Olympics is to a 19-year-old girl from the United States of America, West Virginia University student, cute as a button. She was interviewed by Dan Patrick, and it was an epic interview. Dan Patrick was so taken with her. It was like he was just loving the fact that here's this vivacious, cute, unassuming, terribly well-spoken 19-year-old teenager who's having so much fun. She's only been shooting for 5 years, and she wins a gold medal. She started off, she said, would you like to see my medal? And they're talking. He's asked a question. He said, well, when did you know you were good? She says, I'm good? He says, well, you're holding a gold medal. It was just fabulous. It was epic. I can't think of anything that would have been better to show this is the American gun owner. These are the good guys and gals. That's us, the ones who do this, who shoot recreationally, who love this stuff, who have so much fun. It's fun. We'll see what happens in the other shooting events. Shooting is, I think I remember them telling me it is the fourth largest event in terms of number of events, third largest area, I guess you call it, category in the Olympics. We're not going to get a lot on TV about it. And look, here's the thing. When you're watching, and they do have it online. You can watch it online. When I'm watching, for instance, air gun shooting, rifles, there's not a lot of action there. And I've tried. I have, run TV shows trying to cover Olympic-style shooting. It's really hard to make it interesting. It's kind of the old paint drying thing. So, yeah, you're not going to get a lot of coverage of that. But at least we can watch it online. So if you just Google up the NBC Olympics, you'll be able to find their website and how you can watch online. And it's live, which is very cool. You can watch all that online. All right, tell you what, take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll take your calls, your range reports, and I've got several of those you've sent in here, and pretty much anything else you want to talk about when it comes to guns. Be right back with more Gun Talk. If you're looking for a safe and trusted way to sell your firearms, look no further than Dury's Gun Shop. I trusted them to sell my dad's collection. They built their business for over 50 years on honesty and customer service. Dury's Guns will buy any size collection or estate, none too big or too small. Selling your firearms to Dury's Guns is easy. Go with the pros. I trust Dury's Guns. Dury'sGuns.com.
Two things intimidate most new shooters: noise and recoil. Well, at SilencerShop.com, we turn this into this. Adding a quality suppressor to your pistol or rifle doesn't just make your gun quiet. It reduces muzzle flip and recoil, making your gun easier to shoot and more accurate. The only thing you have to lose is all that noise.
How about the camo pants? Can I lose them too?
Yeah, okay. Put a silencer on your gun and have some fun with silencershop.com, making the world a quieter place.
The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently. When it comes to personal protection, nothing beats a Bodyguard. Choose the lightweight, compact, and concealable Bodyguard 380 pistol or the Bodyguard 38 revolver, both with a built-in laser sight. The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently.
Responsible owners control access to their firearms, even when they may need them in a hurry. Liberty Safe, the nation's leader in gun safes, offers 6 models of handgun vaults. Strong, simple to use, open with a key or fingerprint. Put your handgun in the compact vault, lock it away until you need it. Then it's in your hand almost instantly. Pick the Liberty Safe handgun vault that's right for you. LibertySafeHD.com.
All right, we're back with you. Tom Gresham, it's Gun Talk. 866-TALK-GUN gets you in here. Just dial 1 Tom Talk Gun. A lot of things going on. We're going to be covering a lot of ground here. I just got a range report via email. Let's see. I like to hear the range reports, but this is from Don in San Antonio. But I've never heard anyone comment on the SIG Pro Model 2022 in 327 SIG. I've always wanted a SIG Model 229, but the cost was around $1,100. Then I discovered the Model 2022 for $550, new on Gunbroker. This model was originally available only to law enforcement agencies. It's basically a polymer version of the 229, and it handles hot reloads just fine. I carried it concealed for a while, and I bought a second one for a car gun. Both of these guns handle all loads and all brands without any jamming. I own other autoloaders that jam occasionally, but the SIG Pro never jams! I enjoy shooting them, and the recoil is very manageable. So, Don in San Antonio, thank you for that range report. What are you shooting? What are you trying out? And it doesn't have to be a gun. It could be an optic or a holster or a belt or a new kind of target that you're shooting, something that you said, hey, this would be fun. Oh, have I mentioned, particularly if you're taking kids out and you have a place where you can do it outside, out of town, one of the more fun targets for 22 shooting, you go to Sam's Club or someplace like that and buy a great big, 4 or 5 gallon jar full of cheese puffs, little cheesy ball things. And when you shoot them with the 22, they just poof, evaporate. It's perfect reactive target. And the next rain will wash them away or birds will pick them up. It's all biodegradable. It'll work just fine. It's, why not? And if you want to, you can choke one down now and then while you're shooting. You might want to have some water handy. And also, your hands will be all orange after you do that. Let's go to line 3. Ben's with us out of McMinnville, Oregon. Hey, Ben, thank you for your patience. You're on Gun Talk.
Tom, the gun industry employs 155,000 employees and pays the United States $6.3 billion in taxes. And Hillary would put the gun industry out, therefore bankrupting America just a little bit more than her wanting to ban the coal industry and about everything else that people work at.
It's a good point. You got somebody who says that she wants to create jobs, but at the same time she wants to she said, we're going to put the coal industry, we're going to put miners out of business, and of course, now she wants to put the gun companies out of business. And, that's, as you say, tens of thousands of employees, tens of thousands of families that depend upon the income from a highly regulated industry. highly regulated. And thank you, Ben, when a company makes a gun, and I think possibly this is something you can share with your friends who don't really understand this. The moment a serial number is put on the gun, it now has to be tracked every movement. The part of a gun manufacturing facility where serial numbered parts are kept, it's all locked behind big cages and wires and stuff. And then when that gun is shipped to a dealer or a distributor, that's tracked. And when that gun arrives at the dealer, then it has to be entered into a logbook, and that's tracked and recorded. And then when that gun, having been tracked from the moment it was manufactured, is then sold to an individual, the sale stops until the FBI gets involved. And now the FBI has to say, yes, that's okay. This person can buy this gun. Can you name me any consumer product where you have to get the okay of the FBI before you can buy it? And yet there are people who say guns are essentially not regulated. There are essentially no laws governing the sale, use, storage of firearms. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of gun laws. And yet to hear some of these people speak, it sounds as though, well, you know, we just need some reasonable gun control laws. Well, we've got thousands of gun control laws. Some are reasonable and some are not. But what you're really saying is, I want more gun control laws than the thousands we currently have. Really. The ones we have never been shown to reduce crime. Been studied by universities, been studied by the Department of Justice, been studied even by the CDC. And all of them come up and say, you know, we can't find any evidence of any gun control law that's ever reduced crime. And yet the Hillary Clintons of the world, the gun ban industry says, yeah, but we just need one more. They always want just one more, don't they? This is the one. Well, of course, when they sign the bill for their next gun control laws, then they look up at the camera and say, we know this isn't really going to do anything. But here we go again, right? Here's the quote. It's a good first step. Now, I got to say, if you got, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 laws on the books, for one thing, the next one you pass can't be a good step, or first step. It can't be the first step. And then the other question that comes up is, okay, if this isn't what you actually want, what are we stepping toward? Well, you know, we used to have to wonder, although we do. We really knew. But now they just come out and say it. Hey, we want to ban guns. Hillary Clinton says we want to ban guns. Barack Obama says we want to ban guns. And as soon as we can get around to it here, if we can get enough votes, we're going to ban guns. Or maybe we'll just do it with an executive order. Oh, or we could do this, which is what President Obama did last week. We could issue, you did hear this, right? We could just issue an executive order. Oh, yeah. And in the executive order, we could change a definition. No law to be passed, no hearings to be held, no votes to be taken. I'll just issue a piece of paper and redefine gun manufacturing. And so, according to President Obama and this new executive order, every gunsmith in the country is now a gun maker. I am not making this up. This is huge ramifications. What they're saying is that if you cut on a gun, that is, thread a barrel, rechamber a rifle, checker a rifle or a gun, put stippling on the metal, you are now a gun manufacturer. And you must pay a $2,250 registration fee every year. Already, only a few days after the White House issued this, I'm hearing of gunsmiths who are alerting all of their clients, come get your guns, I'm out of business. Done. I'm out. Well, gee, wouldn't that just be unfortunate? Except that, of course, one has to think that is the intended goal. That's the actual intention here, is we will drive all gunsmiths, or almost all gunsmiths, out of business. When that happens, a lot of gun stores may face going out of business. But wait, look, here's the deal. If you are a gunsmith, hold up, don't do anything, okay? The NSSF, that's the National Shooting Sports Foundation, is taking the lead on this, and they're going to challenge this, and I think they're going to win. So don't register and don't do anything. Just keep doing business the way you are. Here's an analogy for you, because sometimes it takes this to explain to people. People say, well, I'm a manufacturer. That's not such a big deal. That is exactly the same as saying that the mechanic who works on your car is making a car. The guy who's working on your car is manufacturing a car and should be licensed as a car manufacturer. Of course, it makes no sense. Unless, of course, you're frustrated. As President Obama has said, his big frustration, he keeps saying, for his almost 8 years in office is he has not been able to pass the repressive gun control laws that he wants. And so he's now at the end of his term. He's also at the end of his rope. And he's saying, I can't get Congress to go against the will of the people. The people don't want this, but I want this. And I can't get Congress to do it, so I'm just going to do it myself. Executive order. People say, oh, yeah, well, Hillary Clinton couldn't do anything because Congress would stop her. Really? Executive order? Supreme Court? Lower court justices and judges? Tell you what, she'll be able to do it, and she will.
Sign up for our Gun Talk newsletter and join the Truth Squad at www.guntalk.com. Now, back to Gun Talk with Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
All right, trying to keep this real time. I am, if I'm following this correctly, women's trap is underway right now in the Olympics. And the way they do this, the top two shooters, they do a preliminary shoot. The top two shoot for kind of a shoot off for silver and gold, and the next two shoot off for the bronze. And it looks like American Corey Cogdell is in a shoot off for the bronze. So go Corey. Hope that she can nail down that. Any medal in the Olympics is fabulous. Bronze is fabulous. Silver, gold, of course, all are good. Incredible that little 19-year-old Jenny Thrasher took gold in the women's air gun. First medal of the Olympics this year, with a lot of good press about it. I mean, what a spokesperson. Just, as I say, cute, vivacious, just real, a very genuine young, teenager, lady, 19. Cool stuff. We know, of course, that you love the fact that we give away stuff. We connect with a lot of our sponsors and other companies, and we have all these giveaways. And sometimes we get a chance to talk to somebody who actually won one, and one of the biggest prizes we've given away in a long time was the Crimson Trace gun sight giveaway, which ended last week. Joining us right now is the winner of that. Gary is joining us. Hey, Gary, how are you?
I'm great, Tom. How are you?
Well, wonderful. I hear that you didn't hear about this for a while. What happened?
Well, you always see these contests and you enter into them and you think, well, somebody wins them, but it's never me. And this time it was me. And I got that email and I was just, you don't know what to believe. If it's real or not.
You're wondering, okay, somebody's punking me here. What's going on?
That's exactly how I felt.
So how did you figure out this was real and that you were the actual winner?
Well, honestly, Tom, my wife is the only reason I kept my sanity. She kept saying, just hold on, someone's going to get with you, and it's all going to be okay. So I'm pretty much the most excited guy west of the Mississippi, I'll tell you what.
So you're going to go out to Gunsight and take the Gunsight 250 class with the Crimson Trace additional instruction involved for the low light stuff, and you get to take somebody with you, right?
That's correct. And I will be taking my wife with me. She's excited to go, and well, we're both excited to go. It's going to be a wonderful experience. It's something, Gunsight, I've listened to you for quite a long time, and it's something that I've really wanted to do, and finally it's going to be able to be a reality.
Well, that is terrific. So what are you going to do for guns? Have you figured out, what you're going to take, what you're going to shoot? How are you going to handle it?
Well, I'm kind of a Springfield guy myself, and I was able to, didn't take much coercing to my wife, to be able to buy a new gun just on Saturday. So I went with the Springfield XD Mod 2 4-inch. And
Nice.
then we spent the rest of Saturday renting and shooting multiple guns for her to be able to try and make her decision. And I think she's going to go with some sort of a 1911. We're just not there yet.
Oh, okay. Very nice. Well, obviously you can, train on all of those out at Gunsight. And of course, if you choose to, when you're out there, you can always swap out. They have different guns you can rent from the pro shop too. So if you say, hey, let's try something else, we'll do that. Yeah. And I would offer this thought. If she goes with a 1911, I would sure offer that she ought to consider the 9mm version of the 1911. That's a sweet package.
Yes. And that's what we've been trying to stay with is 9mm. And, she doesn't have cheap taste. The ones that she was drawn to were mostly the Kimbers. So we'll be spending a little bit of money in order to go out there.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, you got 2 free tuitions to Gunsight, so you're already ahead.
That's right. I'm excited for that. I'll tell you what.
That is wonderful. I'll tell you what. After you go, well, let me ask you this. Have you had any other tactical training of this sort?
No, not anything formal, really. I've had a concealed weapons permit for quite a few years, and I shoot regularly, but nothing as far as individual or small groups of training. So that's something I'm really looking forward to.
I'll tell you what. After you and your wife go out there and do this, let's get you back on, and you can give us a full-blown range report on the Gunsight Crimson Trace 250 class. Okay.
That sounds great.
All right. Good luck with it. And I don't have to tell you to have fun because I know you guys are going to have a blast.
I'm having a hard time sleeping at night already, Tom. I'll tell you what, I really appreciate this and all the sponsors that have made it possible for us to be able to do this.
Absolutely. Well, you guys have a great time, and we'll talk with you after you take the class.
Sounds great. Thanks, Tom.
All right, thanks. Let's jump up and grab Mike on line 2 out of South Lake Tahoe, California. Hey, Mike.
Tom, how you doing today? I was on your program a few weeks ago, and you asked me how were things going gun-wise out in California. And at the time I answered, well, they weren't so bad. We live up in El Dorado County, which is up in the mountains. The sheriff is pretty gun-friendly. My wife and I were both able to get our concealed weapons permits, and we have the limitations on our ARs. We had to put bullet buttons on them, and we're limited to 10 rounds in the magazine. That was about it, so it was livable. But since then, Governor Brown has signed 5 new anti-gun bills. And as a result of that, I'll be a felon come the 1st of January. So my wife and I have decided we're moving out of the state back to free America in Nevada. We're in contract for a house over there.
Really? So let me get this straight. You're going to leave the state because of these new oppressive gun laws.
And, I'm not taking this decision lightly. I'm a California native son of a California native son. Both my grandmothers were born here. I serve the country. I'm retired from the Marines. My wife and I live in a house that we just absolutely love here in South Lake Tahoe. but we just can't stay here anymore.
Well, you would have to get rid of some guns, a bunch of magazines. You'd have to have a background check done while buying ammo. And all you have to do is go across the state line and you are in freedom again. That's
right, free America. And things are about to get worse. Gavin Newsom is putting an anti-gun measure on the November ballot.
Correct.
At first, the discussion was that if these gun laws that Brown just signed don't go through, well, then he was going to put those same provisions on the November ballot. But what I understand now, and I haven't been able to see the text of this ballot measure, I don't think it's been published yet, but I understand it's even more oppressive now. I've heard some of my friends that say they've heard that it'll even outlaw the M1 Garand because it has a detachable ammunition carrier from a semi-automatic rifle.
Yeah, there's a whole lot involved in that. We're definitely going to be covering that as we get closer to the election. I feel for you. I swear I do. Ripping up, moving, to another state because the state says, hey, because you are doing things that last week were completely legal, we're going to declare them to be illegal and make you a felon if you don't comply. Haven't hurt anybody. Haven't done anything to anybody. You just own stuff that they said now you're telling you can't own. Well, that's unconscionable, immoral. And that's California, at least the legislature there. So I feel for you. Tell you what, when we come back, I'm going to read just a little bit. I got an email from a guy in Montana. He says, look, we're going to sell our property out here. We've got a big campground, bunch of land, 1,000-yard range. If somebody from California wants to come out here, we're going to sell it. And might be a perfect place for somebody who's really gunny. Who knows? Maybe the right thing for you. 866-TALK-GUN. Be right back.
The Ruger American Rimfire Rifle combines features of the Ruger American Rifle and innovations of the 1022 Rimfire Rifle to appeal to all bolt-action enthusiasts. It features a modular stock system that provides comb height options for scope or iron sight use, a power bedding integral bedding block system for outstanding accuracy, a Ruger Marksman adjustable trigger, and a 1022 style rotary magazine for reliable feeding. The Ruger American Rimfire Rifle, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
No matter what gun you have, you want it to hit harder, shoot faster and flatter, and be more accurate. You get all that with the ammunition from Double Tap. Double Tap's experts select the best bullets, then load them to higher velocities while keeping safe pressures. Shoot small groups. Shoot farther. Use custom hunting loads in your handgun or rifle. Even fire 2 projectiles with one shot. DoubleTapAmmo.com. That's DoubleTapAmmo.com.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you know you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Bata Group. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
Laser sights enhance shooting fundamentals, sight alignment, and trigger control. Training with laser sights increases muzzle awareness, improves and corrects sight alignment at sight picture, and aids in acquiring and maintaining sight picture in low light conditions. Call 800-442-2406 or visit crimsontrace.com for a free copy of our laser training video, The Laser's Edge, and learn why Crimson Trace is making laser sights standard equipment.
Hey, just got an email from a listener says, hey, just a heads up, Corey just won the bronze. We're talking about Corey Cogdell, the young shooter. I am moved. That is so great. From Alaska, she's shooting trap, women's trap, and she takes the bronze. So America gets another medal in shooting sports at the Olympics. That is fabulous. All right, before the break, we had a caller, Mike, from South Tahoe, California. Lives in California. Marine, former Marine. Lifelong California, like third-generation Californian. And they're going to sell their house that they love, he and his wife, and leave the state because of the new laws that were signed into effect by Governor Brown. Gun control laws, repressive laws, laws that, if not complied with, would, as he said, make him a felon. All right, here's a heads up. I'm going to give this info out here. Oh, I hope he's ready for it. Got an email from Chip. He says, we've never met, but occasionally I've been working in my shop on Saturday mornings and listen to your show. My wife and I built and operate an RV park near the Custer battlefield. We also own about a section of ground on it and run a few cattle and horses. On the back property is a 1,000-yard buffalo gun range, which could actually have been pushed out to about 1,300 yards. He says, we're ready to sell out. We're retiring. And I heard your comment about folks wanting to leave California and find a better place. He says, what we have here is a great area to live in, and it is in Montana. They've got a going business and land and a shooting range. And he said, here's the info. Gave me the website, so we're going to give it out. So if you're interested in this, look to historicwest.com. Historicwest.com. It's the 7th Ranch RV Camp, 7TH. It's in Gary Owen. That's one word, Gary Owen, Montana. Chip, I hope you were ready for it because I just gave it out there. And it sounded the kind of place that I would go want to take a look at. Man, bunch of land, a place where you could shoot. Oh, yeah, it's in Montana. Yes. Cool. Line 3, John's with us out of Nevada. Hey, John, you're on Gun Talk. What you looking at here?
I was just curious about the Second Amendment infringements. I was wondering how many gun laws are there right now, and I consider them personally, an infringement, every one of them.
We don't really know. I've heard the number before of 20,000 gun control laws. The problem is we don't really know because there are federal laws, state laws, local laws, state laws, city laws, parish laws, county laws, laws that involve taxes from the IRS. We have laws that involve importation and exportation. It goes on and on and on. There are just laws everywhere. We have the FBI involved, the ATF involved, the IRS, State Department, laws that tell you what you can send overseas, what you can import. It's hugely regulated. We don't know. I don't think there's anybody that knows how many gun laws there are.
Well, it's just federal would be the thing. It seems like the state's fault of the government.
Well, and as you say, it's all an infringement. I mean, what does the word infringe mean? Now, and look, I appreciate the call. There are those who say, well, there are no rights that can't be restricted somewhat. Okay, I get that. I understand. At the same time, you have, make no mistake, people say, oh, no, they don't really want to take your guns away. Yes, they do. They really, really do. In California, they just passed a law that says you got to get rid of them. You got to turn them in or send them out of the state. You cannot own them. They were legal before, now they're not legal. In Massachusetts, the Attorney General just arbitrarily says, those guns that you owned yesterday, they were legal, they're no longer legal to sell. Nobody passed a new law. I just interpreted it differently. You don't want to do that? Fine. Do what you want to do. I'll just arrest you. We'll charge you with a felony and send you to prison. But nobody voted on it. It's not even a new law. They just decide, we're going to take away your guns. I mentioned earlier we were shooting the First Person Offender series this week, this next season's worth. And we had a bunch of fun doing it, learned a lot, as we always do. We put people into self-defense situations. They're wearing protective gear. It's, they get assaulted, they get, rushed, knife attacks, gun attacks. Sometimes they're not even the one who is being attacked. Sometimes they're just near an attack. You're in a convenience store while it's being robbed. Do you do anything? Now you're in a convenience store, next version, in a place that's being robbed and somebody gets shot. Now do you do anything? Well, as we say, it all depends. Two of the players really kind of stood out. There are a bunch of really good ones, too, that just wanted to pass along to you. One was a young woman named Raven, sharp as could be, former military, actually a helicopter engine mechanic. After it was over, she'd been through this whole scenario. I'm not going to tell you about the whole thing because it was involved and you'll be able to see it when it comes out. But I asked her, I said, and we always ask this, do you remember seeing the sights? They always say no. No, I don't remember that. Did you see the laser? Yeah. Never used a laser before? No, never used a laser. Crimson trace laser, instinctive activation, just grab it, turns on. I said, well, what do you think about that? And she stopped and she thought about it for a minute, and then she said something. And I've been talking about lasers for many, many years. I've never heard this before. Never heard this concept expressed at all. But I thought it was absolutely on point. She said, when you're using the laser, you're looking at the threat. You see the dot on the threat. You don't have to think about anything there. You don't have to line up the sights. And then she said, it opens up room to do other problem solving, to think about other things. And I thought, that's brilliant. Because these are just exercises in problem solving. And so I need to move. I need to find cover. I've got to grab somebody. I've got to pull them out of the way. There's 100 things I got to do right now. And if I don't have to think about and focus on trying to shift my focus from the bad guy to the front sight, from the bad guy to the front sight, and you got to go back and forth to see what he's doing. What are his hands doing? What's he doing right now? Is he complying with your verbal commands? Is he not? Is he hurting somebody else? Just put the dot on him and look at him, and then do what you got to do. Wow, I never heard that expressed before. Using the laser frees up brain power for other problem solving. The other one, and several people stood out, Tim joined us from Tennessee. We could not trip up Tim, and we can trip up almost anybody on these. The reason we couldn't trip him up, we couldn't suck him into getting involved into something. And let me tell you, I tried to ramp it up. I was amping it up. I ended up grabbing somebody. We went down to the ground. We're thrashing around. I'm screaming, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him. Tim wouldn't shoot him. He said, hey, I didn't say a weapon. So why was that? Well, Tim has been to Tiger McKee's training many, many times. Tiger McKee at Shoot Right. It's shoot, R-I-T-E, shootright.org. Tiger's operation is in Alabama. And you could tell Tim, he knew what he was doing. He was confident. Because he had been through the training, he was able to process what was going on. It wasn't his first time through this. It was impressive, I got to tell you. And this is, not a super ninja warrior special forces guy. It's a guy like you and me who just decided to take it seriously and go get training with somebody who really knows what he's doing. Whether it's Gunsight or Shoot Right or Thunder Ranch or SIG Academy or some of the other good schools out there. I highly recommend it. It simply makes you safer. It makes you more confident. It makes you more confident. It could save your life.